Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There's something sacred about being seen for who you really are. Not for what you can do, not for the mask you've had to wear in certain rooms, but for the quiet way you've been living when no one was around. And that's exactly what's been happening in the unseen. Heaven has been watching you closely, not to judge you or keep score of your mistakes, but to notice the way you keep showing up with integrity, even when it seems nothing is changing. To notice the way you keep choosing love over and over. Not the sentimental kind, but the kind that costs something. Unlike most people, you've carried yourself in a way that doesn't shout for attention. You haven't shrunk your life down to appearances or chased rewards the world hands out. And that way of living, it whispers to heaven, "You can trust me with more." And here's the truth. God has already trusted you with more than you realize. But it's easy to overlook something sacred in a society that values surface-level desires over lasting peace. The kind of peace that no amount of money, human affection, or shallow, fleeting pleasures can truly give. Those things may make you happy for a moment, but the feeling fades just as quickly. You know, you've been entrusted with moments that could have broken you, with assignments disguised as ordinary days, with responsibilities other people might have dropped, because the weight was heavier than the reward. You didn't drop them. You carried them in silence, without turning them into a performance. You didn't need an audience to validate the faithfulness you've been living out. Most people don't realize this. Being trusted by God rarely looks like a stage or a title at first. It often looks like long stretches of endurance, where you learn to hold things steady, even when no one notices. You've lived that. You've been the quiet, steady in places where other people's storms could have swallowed you whole. You've chosen self-control over retaliation and compassion over ego, not because it was easy, but because your spirit knew it was right. That's maturity in its finest, and heaven counts that. I want you to think about the last season you walked through, the one that felt heavier than what you signed up for, the way you had to keep your spirit clear even when it didn't feel fair, the way you gave without knowing if anything would come back to you. Those weren't wasted days, they were proving grounds. Every act of restraint was a seed. Every moment you chose not to harden was an investment in a future you couldn't see yet. And you've been consistent in ways most people will never fully understand. You've prayed without answers. You've forgiven without apologies. You've stayed when you could have walked away. You've walked away when staying would have destroyed you. All of that speaks to God louder than any song or speech ever could. Because it's not about what you say you believe, it's about the life you live when no one is looking. The beautiful part is, you haven't been doing any of this to earn God's approval. You've been doing it because it's who you are. And that's the exact reason heaven trusts you with more. Not because you're perfect, not because you never doubted, but because, even in your doubt, you kept moving in the right direction. That trust? It's not going anywhere. And if you know someone who needs that same reminder, let this be the way they hear it. Like and share, because someone out there needs to know they're not walking through this alone. Let me remind you, God doesn't build on unstable ground. He builds on steady hearts, and yours has proven to be just that. You might not feel extraordinary most days. You might even wonder if the way you've been living really matters. But heaven knows, and heaven has already decided this one can be trusted with more. I want you to picture something with me for a moment. In some old villages, there's a person whose job is to carry a single lantern through the streets at night. Not to light the whole city, not to set every home ablaze with brightness, just to make sure the flame doesn't go out. It's not glamorous. Nobody stops them to say, "Thank you." Most people are asleep while they do it. But if that one flame dies, the whole town wakes up in the dark. You've been that lantern bearer, walking your path, holding on to the light God placed in you, even when the road has been quiet, even when it would have been easier to set the lantern down and blend into the dark like everyone else. And the thing about lantern bearers, They're trusted with the first sparks when it's time to light the next season. That's exactly where you are now. Because what God has been building in you isn't just for you. The discipline, the humility, the steady heart, they're the foundation for something that's going to affect people you haven't even met yet. You may have thought this season was about getting through or waiting for your turn, but it's been about being shaped into someone who can be handed something precious without breaking it or misusing it. And I'll be honest, God doesn't hand out influence, favor, or breakthrough casually, not because He's withholding, but because He knows what mishandled blessings can do. They can crush a person who isn't ready. They can harm the very people the blessing was meant to help. But you've proven over and over again that you can carry the weight without turning it into a crown you worship. You've shown that you can have access without arrogance. That's rare, and heaven knows it. Think back on the doors that stayed closed when you thought they should open. At the time, it felt like rejection. Now you can see it was protection. God was keeping you from stepping into rooms that would have drained the life out of you before you even began. That's what trust looks like from heaven's side. Not just giving you what you want, but guarding you until you can handle what you're made for. And here's the thing about God's timing. It often shows up disguised as all of a sudden. People will look at you and say, "It happened overnight." But you and I both know those nights were years long. Every unseen choice, every quiet act of obedience, every time you bit your tongue when your pride wanted to speak, they've all been building to a moment where God can say, "Now, hand it to them." And when that moment comes, it won't be a slow trickle. It will be a release, the kind where you realize every detour and delay was part of a straight line only God could draw. This next part is important. When heaven trusts you, it also positions you. Sometimes that means being moved to the front of the line without warning. Other times, it means being seated at a table where the conversation is already in your favor before you even open your mouth. You don't have to strive for this. You don't have to force people to see you. The same God who has been watching you in the unseen knows exactly how to make you visible at the right time. And when He does, it won't just be visibility. It will be credibility, because trust isn't built in public. It's revealed in public after it's been forged in private. So, if you're feeling that strange mix of restlessness and peace right now, that's the sign. The restlessness is your spirit knowing something is about to move. The peace is your spirit knowing you're ready for it. And you are ready, not because you have all the answers, not because you've done everything perfectly, but because when it mattered most, you didn't let go of the light. If you remember one thing from today, let it be this. Walk into this next season with the same integrity you carried in the last. Keep your lantern steady, because the path you're about to light isn't just yours anymore. It's going to guide others too. And when they see that light, they won't just see you. They'll see the one who trusted you to carry it. Your turn has come up, and heaven is already smiling, knowing exactly what you'll do with it. And before we finish, I want to share something with you. As a musician, I've started a second channel, Simplified Serenity, with soaking worship instrumentals for prayer, stillness, and deep rest. If you felt peace here today, take it with you into your own quiet time with God. The link's in the description. I'd love to see you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. You found this message exactly when you were meant to, not because you were seeking it, but because something sacred has already been sent ahead of you. A divine message, written by God's own hand. And the moment it lands, something inside of you is going to click, like a lock that was waiting for the right key. So listen closely till the end, because the future you, the one you barely let yourself believe in, is closer than your fears and stronger than your current circumstances. Heaven says, get ready. They're about to become who I always said they were. But before that version of you walks in, God needed to get a message to your now, not your polished version, not the you that already knows what to do, but the you that's been quietly wondering if the way you're moving through life makes sense anymore. Because let's be real for a moment. You know, sometimes we measure divine moments using the same logic we were taught in a world that's constantly chasing fame, money, and appearances. And sure, those things aren't bad. They're incredible, actually, but only when they're carried by something real, by true intentions, by faith in the heart, by kindness in the mind. All things you've already been practicing like second nature. So why are we still measuring life by a framework that barely worked for us in the first place? You've already seen how it leaves people empty, how they chase more just to feel enough. And deep down you've always known this universe is more than that. So maybe what you're feeling isn't confusion, it's contrast. You're just not playing by the same rules anymore. And this message is your bridge, because you've been standing in between, too awake to go back, too called to pretend, but not quite sure how to live from that deeper place without drifting off the map completely. You've been walking like someone caught between dimensions, and now, the one meant to live in the next one is arriving. Let's make something clear. This isn't a "you're about to glow up" message. This is spiritual alignment at full force. This was sent to deliver activation, because God isn't asking you to be more. He's reminding you that you already are. And that's what this message carries. Confirmation. Not some vague encouragement, but a soul-level knowing. You didn't mishear your calling. You didn't imagine your sensitivity. You weren't being too much when you said, "There has to be more than this." There is more, and it's about to start walking in as you. But it's not going to feel like some big, dramatic explosion. It's going to feel like letting go of everything that made you feel small, just to feel safe. Through choosing what's aligned, not what's easiest. Through showing up again, even when you're not fully sure what's next. And yes, that will scare people. Because this new you, you're not afraid to trust what doesn't look logical anymore. You're not clinging like you used to. You're not trying to control every outcome like it's your job to manage the universe. You're starting to see it now, aren't you? The exhaustion wasn't from doing something wrong. It was from trying to carry something that was never yours to carry alone. This world teaches us to hustle for everything, to earn love, to prove worth, to micromanage destiny. And we both know that doesn't work. Not for people like you. Not for souls who were never meant to follow a script. So let's sit with this for a moment. The same God who crafted galaxies, who gave the ocean its rhythm, who wrote the details of your fingerprint with intention, that same God didn't bring you this far just to leave you here guessing. He's not asking you to hustle for his help. He's asking you to let him lead. And just keep showing up, fully, softly, honestly, without clinging, without rushing, because the future version of you knows this, and they're about to arrive in you, not as someone louder, bolder, or more perfect, but as someone finally comfortable in their own rhythm. Someone who trusts the flow of the river more than the need to control its direction. Someone who knows that rest isn't weakness, that stillness isn't failure, that slowness isn't falling behind. And if you're in that in-between space right now, where nothing makes perfect sense yet, just remember, even silence has its own divine momentum. So stay close to yourself. Stay close to the signs that speak softly, the timing that seems strange, the thoughts that return to you again and again, asking to be trusted. Because what's arriving next, it's a version of you you're finally ready to receive. And here's something people don't talk about enough. Becoming isn't always visible on the surface. Sometimes it's just you, sitting in your room, feeling like everything is shifting, but having no words for what's happening. No spotlight, no applause. Just the slow realization that you don't fit in your old patterns anymore. You try to go back and think, maybe I was happier then, but it doesn't feel like it used to. You try to move forward and wonder, am I ready? But you're not sure what ready even looks like anymore. Let me tell you, this is the space where the most important work happens. And I know it feels lonely sometimes, but it's not isolation, it's refinement. Because God doesn't promote chaos. He prepares the vessel before the blessing arrives. And that's what this message is, a moment of sacred preparation. Not pressure, not urgency, but a deep, quiet yes forming in your soul. The kind of yes that doesn't need outside permission. The kind of yes that changes everything, even before anything visibly changes. And if it feels like nothing has happened yet, like maybe you missed your moment, let me remind you, you are the moment. The shift doesn't always show up like a door swinging open. Sometimes it shows up like a small inner decision, a deep breath, a silent agreement with yourself that you're not going to shrink just to stay comfortable. You're not going to perform a version of yourself that's more acceptable, more digestible, more normal. You're going to live as you, full, honest, present. And yes, that may feel risky, because we've been conditioned to believe that safe means invisible, that being soft means weak, that being spiritual means constantly being peaceful and unbothered. But the truth? Being spiritual means being anchored. Even when everything around you is unsteady, it means choosing love when it's not convenient, choosing alignment when it's not understood, choosing truth even when it doesn't win you approval. And that's what's happening here. This isn't just a nice message. It's an alignment, a mirror, a moment that reflects back the version of you that's been growing in private. The one who doesn't look for signs in the sky anymore, but recognizes them in your own breath. The one who understands that faith isn't waiting for something to happen. It's knowing that something already has. The you who is coming next. They're not defined by the old fears. They're not led by other people's pace. They're led by the peace of knowing you were never supposed to blend in. So don't be surprised if things start falling away. Don't panic if people start misunderstanding your silence, your shift, your softness. Not everyone is meant to understand where you're going because they weren't assigned to walk it with you. But don't close your heart, because new people are coming too. People who see you, who don't need you to explain your depth, who won't think you're too much, who've been praying for someone like you to show up and confirm that their own sensitivity wasn't brokenness, it was a gift. That's why you had to go through this first, so you could meet them as yourself, not a masked version. And that's what God's been setting up behind the scenes. Not just a shift in your life, but a shift in your relationships, your energy, your rhythm. Because this is no longer about waiting to be chosen. You were chosen from the beginning, not because of what you could do, but because of who you are. And I know that sometimes still doesn't feel like enough. Because this world teaches us to always strive, to always be one step ahead, to make it make sense on paper. But let me ask you something. When has your most divine moment ever made sense on paper? When has your most meaningful breakthrough ever come through logic? You didn't earn this by being perfect. You aligned with it by being true. And now, it's time to live like that truth is enough, because it is. So here's your invitation. Let go of the outdated idea that God's timing is late. Let go of the idea that your progress has to look like someone else's. Let go of the guilt for needing rest, the shame for still healing, the fear of being seen mid-process. You are allowed to be seen now, not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who is real. You're not here to prove your worth. You're here to remember it, honor it, and move like it's already true. So breathe, sit with this, let it settle. The future you is not just coming. They're here, and all you have to do is meet them with your full presence. No more performing, no more controlling, no more waiting for the world to give you permission. God already did. And this This is the moment you finally said yes. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. You know what's strange? We were taught to believe heaven only notices the grand gestures, the loud declarations, the public sacrifices, the unwavering faith that never shakes. But I want to tell you something real, something most people never say. Heaven notices the quiet things, the small yeses, the sacred choices no one sees. Like when you stayed quiet, not out of fear, but because you knew explaining yourself wouldn't change anything. Or when you went home early, not to avoid people, but because your energy felt sacred that night and you didn't want to spend it on small talk. When you forgave, not because they deserved it, but because your soul deserved the freedom. And do you know what happened then? Heaven stood up, not with trumpets and lightning bolts, but with something higher, a sacred standing ovation, for a move only angels saw, because it wasn't loud. It was true. You see, there's a kind of clarity that only comes from being misunderstood, and a kind of strength that's earned, not shown. And while the world might have overlooked it, heaven didn't. Let's break this open a little more. Most people are chasing a feeling, but they don't know it. They think they're chasing the job, the relationship, the recognition. But what they're really chasing, that deep, undeniable sense of rightness, of alignment, of this is where I'm supposed to be. But here's where it gets wild. That feeling doesn't come from finally being seen. It comes from seeing yourself. And you've been doing that more and more lately, haven't you? Even in moments where you're not sure what the next step is, you're not reaching for old patterns anymore. You're moving differently now, not because someone told you to, but because you've learned to trust your own divine rhythm. And yes, it may look small on the outside. Maybe you didn't quit your job or start a new business. Maybe you didn't cut ties with everyone or move across the world. But inside, you made a shift, a powerful one. You stopped asking others for permission to feel what you feel. You stopped looking for confirmation to trust your gut. You started choosing peace, even when your ego wanted noise. And let me tell you something. Angels notice that kind of courage. They don't gather just for fireworks. They gather when truth moves through someone's soul and lands softly in their body, when someone stops performing for love and starts embodying it. Let's be real for a moment. You've probably seen people who look successful. They post the photos, they hit the milestones, they seem fulfilled. But inside, many of them are chasing something that doesn't belong to them. They're chasing someone else's joy. Because that's what the world told them success looks like. But here's the thing. Your joy? It was never meant to be earned through applause. It was meant to be felt through alignment. That moment you lit a candle just to breathe. That quiet morning you said no to chaos. That night you didn't reach out to prove your worth again. Those are holy moments, and every time you made those choices, heaven nodded. The angels didn't just clap. They stood up. Not because you did something flashy, but because you did something real. And this part is important, so hear me. You're not here to compete with what the world claps for. You're here to become what the heavens already know you are. And while others might chase what sparkles, you're following what glows. You're not chasing stages, you're walking altars, and that changes everything. Because now, you're no longer trying to become worthy. You're remembering you always were. Let me pause you right here. If it feels like your life still hasn't arrived, if it feels like your efforts haven't caught up to your vision yet, that's okay. Because even before the fruit shows, the roots are speaking. Your life is moving, quietly, steadily, not to impress, but to become. And the realm of spirit, it sees it all. That one move you made in silence, the angels watched, and they didn't just take note. They celebrated. Because something in heaven shifted the moment you did. So why does this matter now? Because for too long, people told you nothing was happening unless it was visible, unless it could be posted, measured, compared. But that was never your path. And honestly, that was never heaven's standard. Heaven doesn't operate by trends. It moves by truth. And right now, it's building something through you, so deeply that even you can barely grasp it yet. But the angels do. They've seen the rewiring. They've seen the unlearning. They've seen the moment you sat in your car alone and chose not to spiral. The moment you looked in the mirror and decided to believe a little more in who you are, without needing anyone else to say it first. And that made them stand. Because this isn't just transformation. This is alignment with your divine self. You see, in the spiritual realm, the loudest sound is the soul returning home. It doesn't shake the room. It doesn't echo on microphones. But it moves the heavens. It's like a code being reactivated in your DNA, one that was there all along. And here's the beautiful, rarely said truth. The most divine moments often look boring on the outside. It's not lightning strikes. It's choosing what your spirit whispers, even when your mind is shouting. It's not fire from the sky. It's walking away from what you know isn't love, without fanfare, without revenge. It's that tiny, quiet decision to be loyal to your soul, even when no one's watching. Those are the moments the angels applaud, not because of how it looks, but because of what it shifts. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed how lately you're not as reactive? You're not begging God for proof anymore. You're not explaining your evolution to people who only knew your past. That's not small. That's a sign you're becoming. The divine realm has been watching this subtle becoming, your choice to move with more grace, to walk away from chaos, to trust that the unseen is still real. And that last move you made, that decision no one understood, that step you took even while scared, that was the moment. That's when something shifted. That's when heaven rose up and said, look at this one. They chose truth over comfort, again. Now let's ground this in your life. If your surroundings still look the same, if your external world hasn't caught up yet, don't mistake that for nothing happening. This is the part where it's not supposed to make sense to everyone, because what's happening is spiritual, and spirit moves ahead of matter. Your steps right now are leaving imprints in places you can't see. You are being recorded in the realm of truth, and soon what was done in silence will become undeniable in the physical. But not because you forced it, because you trusted it. You trusted that peace was enough. You trusted that being faithful to who you are, even in confusion, was powerful. You trusted that something in you was guiding you even when no one could see the path. And that trust, it created a wave. So if you've been wondering why you suddenly feel lighter, why things that once triggered you just don't, why you can sit in stillness and not panic anymore, that's the result of your last unseen move. And the angels felt it. They didn't need a spotlight. They didn't need a post. They felt the purity of it, the sincerity, the sacredness. And their response? A standing ovation. Because you didn't wait for confirmation. You became it. Now here's what happens next. Your next season isn't built by doing more. It's built by trusting deeper. Let this message serve as your confirmation. Heaven is proud of you. And if you've ever questioned whether the unseen things you've done matter, if you've ever wondered whether your internal growth has been noticed by the divine, let this be your answer. It has. It is. You're not trying to prove your worth anymore. You're walking in it. And every step you take in truth, Heaven walks with you. So don't stop now. Keep your head high. Let God lead. Even if the road is quiet, even if no one claps, walk anyway. Because where you're headed next, it's not just better, it's what your spirit's been waiting for. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There's this strange feeling that's hard to explain. It's not quite confusion, not exactly anxiety. It's more like an ache, a mismatch, like your skin doesn't quite fit the life you're standing in. You've probably been asking yourself, why does everything feel off, even when nothing looks wrong? But deep down, you already know the answer. The life that once felt like a home now feels like a hallway. The way you used to talk, just to fill silence. The dreams you kept putting off so you wouldn't scare anyone with how serious they really are. The version of you that kept your real thoughts to yourself so things wouldn't get uncomfortable. That version of your life? You're quietly stepping out of it. And your body, it's feeling the change. You're tired in a new way. Certain places drain you. Certain people don't feel like home anymore. No matter how long they've been in your story, you're not confused. You're changing. And this change isn't surface level. It's not just about habits or mindsets or morning routines. God is literally changing your body because He's preparing you to hold something your old life couldn't carry. And the resistance you're feeling right now, that's the body and the mind doing exactly what they were designed to do. Protect the status quo. Hold the patterns. Preserve what kept you alive until now, no matter how small you feel in it. But here's the thing. Your soul isn't interested in the kind of safety that keeps you from experiencing anything just because it might hurt. Your soul knows the truth God put inside you before you were ever here. It knows what's real, what's right, what's yours. And when your current life starts to drift away from that truth, your soul doesn't stay quiet. It screams. It screams through restlessness. It screams through that weird heaviness you can't explain. It screams through every part of your life that suddenly stops making sense. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're ready for more. But we're taught to ignore that scream, to call it overthinking, to blame ourselves for being ungrateful or restless. And instead of listening inward, we start looking outward, at everyone else's highlight reels, at the people who look like they've figured it all out, at the loud, shiny versions of success the world says we're supposed to chase. And we think, maybe I'm just not enough yet. Maybe if I worked harder, smiled more, got better at pretending, maybe then the ache would go away. But the truth is this: you were never meant to blend in. Imagine your life looking just like everyone else's. What would be the point of God choosing you? Your path was never going to be smooth or predictable because you weren't called to be comfortable. You were called to carry something sacred. And that sacred thing, it needs space. It needs a body that can hold it. It needs a life that fits. So yes, the shift feels strange. Yes, your body is resisting. Your mind is trying to keep you in what's familiar. But God isn't asking your comfort for permission. He's asking your spirit to follow what He already planted in you. You're being loosened from the survival systems that kept you alive, so you can step into a life that actually allows you to live. You see, your soul already knows where this is going. It's not confused. It's not waiting for a sign. It's been whispering the same truth for years. But now, it's no longer whispering. It's screaming. Because you're ready. Because you've already started. Because the old rhythm doesn't match the new assignment anymore. And it's not just emotional. It's physical. That exhaustion you can't explain, that ache in your chest when you ignore your gut, the sudden urge to pull away from what once made you feel important, that's not weakness. That's God rewiring you. You are not the same person you used to be, so your body can't move the same way it used to. Your mind can't stay loyal to what used to keep it distracted. And that's a good thing, because the moment you start to go inward, the moment you stop asking others for confirmation of what you already feel in your gut, the moment you start choosing alignment over performance, that's when everything starts to make sense. Not all at once, not perfectly, but clearly enough to say, I know this is the way, even if no one else understands it yet. And you may be the only one in your circle who feels it. The only one who can't go back to pretending, the only one who sees through the noise now. But that's not proof you're off track. That's proof you're chosen. Because being chosen doesn't always feel powerful. Sometimes it feels like being the only one who can't unsee what they've seen, but you're not alone. You're just being called forward. Now, let's talk about what this shift actually feels like. Because if you're honest, it's not always glamorous or peaceful, and it definitely doesn't feel like what people describe when they talk about spiritual breakthroughs. It feels like losing interest in what used to excite you. It feels like watching yourself go through the motions. It feels like knowing something needs to change, but not knowing where to start. And while it might feel like you're stuck, you're not. You're just not aligned with the version of your life that no longer speaks the same language as your soul. That's why everything feels tight. That's why you're tired, but not just physically. That's why even when you're surrounded by people, you still feel alone. Your body is trying to keep you inside what it knows, because biologically, safety means familiarity, even if that familiarity is spiritually draining. But your soul, it's been ready to move. And now the pressure is building because the gap between where you are and where you're called to be is not ignorable. So the tension you feel isn't weakness. It's the signal. It's your inner life telling you that what once fit no longer does. And not because something's wrong with you, but because something's right. Because when God reminds you of your purpose, your posture begins to shift. And when your posture shifts, your path starts to bend with it. And sometimes that means breaking the routine that once helped you survive. You may find yourself crying and not knowing why, pulling back from people without meaning to, waking up in the middle of the night with an ache you can't name. And I want to tell you, that's not you falling apart. That's you being rearranged. It's uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, but it's also divine because it's intentional. The old life around you is too small for the next thing God is forming inside you, so you might not feel understood right now. You might not feel productive. You might not feel like you're moving fast enough. But your soul isn't asking for speed. As always, it's asking for alignment. See, you've been led by love before, but now you're being led by truth. And truth doesn't always feel soft and warm. Sometimes it feels like disruption. Sometimes it feels like everything falling apart, just so something deeper can finally come together. And I know that voice in your mind is loud. The one that says you're being dramatic, that nothing's wrong, that you should be grateful for the life you already have. But that voice is trained to protect your past. It's not equipped to build your future. So if your soul is screaming, if something inside of you is tugging, burning, refusing to settle, it's because God is bringing you into a life that your body hasn't caught up to yet. Your nervous system is still wired for survival. Your thoughts are still used to filtering everything through the lens of what makes sense or what will be accepted. But your purpose isn't designed to make sense to the crowd. It's designed to make peace with your soul. And the moment you trust that, the moment you stop waiting for permission to listen inward again, you'll feel something click. Not because the discomfort ends overnight, but because you'll stop fighting a war that's already been decided. You're not lost, and you're definitely not broken. You're becoming. And becoming isn't clean. It's not always clear, but it's honest, and it's holy. So, if your body feels tired right now, let it rest. If your emotions feel scattered, give them space. If your mind is spiraling, bring it back to stillness. Because your soul, it's never been confused. It knows. It's always known. And the more you listen, the louder it gets. Not to overwhelm you, but to remind you. You're not meant to keep adjusting to a life that your spirit has already left. You're being invited somewhere higher, and God isn't just changing your circumstances, He's changing you from the inside out, so you can finally step into a life that was always meant to feel like home. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. This might sound strange, but some of what God plans to use in your future isn't something new. It's something old, something you almost forgot, something that's been with you since the very beginning, hidden in plain sight. See, not everything God wants to use is built later in life. Some things are buried early, not because they're unimportant, but because they're too powerful to be tampered with. And that's what this message is about. There's something in your childhood, an instinct, a gift, a moment, a way you saw the world before it told you who you had to be. And right now, God is reaching backward, so He can bring you forward. It's like this. You know how a seed has everything it needs from the start, but it still needs the right season to break the surface. That's you. That gift, that way of seeing and feeling, it didn't disappear. It just went underground. And now, the season has shifted. Maybe it was the way you used to draw entire worlds in silence, or how you used to know when someone was sad before they said a word. Or maybe it was that stubborn fire you had, that knowing in your gut that you were here for something more. But life happened, didn't it? Maybe in society, at school, or even in your own home, you learned to compress yourself into shapes that made others comfortable, to mute your truth, to act normal, to get good at fitting in. Because even if you didn't say it out loud, you noticed. Being different made people uncomfortable. So you did what most people do. You buried it, not out of shame, out of survival. But here's the thing about spiritual gifts. They don't go away. They go underground until God decides it's time. And for you, it's time. Lately, you've probably felt something stirring. Maybe you've been flooded with old memories for no reason, or had dreams that felt like they came from another lifetime, or noticed a deep craving to feel real again, like you did when you were young. That's not nostalgia. That's awakening. That's your soul recognizing the pieces God's about to put back in play. See, when God starts unlocking your next chapter, He doesn't just throw out the old one. He revisits it. He retrieves what the enemy tried to bury. The world may have called it sensitivity. God calls it discernment. They may have labeled you too intense. God calls it fire. Maybe they said you asked too many questions, feel too strongly, dream too wildly. But God was preserving something most people lost, a clear connection to your calling. And now, it's becoming useful again. But not in the way it looked back then. You're not going backwards. You're just recovering a part of yourself that always knew where you were headed. You're reuniting with the version of you that never needed to be explained. Because what's about to happen next in your life won't be built on trends or titles or talent. It'll be built on what's been true the entire time. That's why you feel the tension. That's why you've been craving depth again. That's why shallow spaces don't satisfy anymore. You're not just going through changes. You're stepping into the life your soul already recognized before your eyes could see it. And here's the part no one talks about. The reason this part of your life feels strangely emotional is because your body remembers what it felt like to bury something sacred, and your spirit is finally refusing to do it again. It might come out in weird ways, tears when you least expect it, old songs hitting you like prophecy, random childhood moments flashing in your memory like they happened yesterday. Don't ignore it. This is holy ground, because this, what you're remembering, what's resurfacing, what's calling your name again, this is what the enemy hoped you'd forget. This is what God's been protecting until the time was right. And that time is now. And if you know the way the universe works, you know you don't need to force anything. This isn't about doing, it's about letting. This isn't about trying harder, doing more, or fixing yourself. It's about releasing what's unnecessary and letting what's already true finally rise. You do the same things, but they don't feel the same. The habits that used to help now just feel hollow. It's like your body's wearing a heavy winter coat, but the season has changed. You don't need the extra weight anymore, but part of you still thinks the cold is coming. That's why everything feels so heavy when you try to move forward. But that version of you was always meant to be temporary, because when your soul starts moving forward, your body and mind feel the tension first. That weird fog you've been feeling. It's not laziness or confusion. It's the collision between who you were told to be and who God created you to be. The spiritual disconnection shows up physically, in feeling more tired than usual without any clear reason, in the questions you keep asking yourself when you try to fall asleep. And here's the truth you haven't said out loud. You already know what you need to do. You already know what direction your soul has been pulling you toward. You've known for a while. But knowing it and trusting it, those are two different steps, because it doesn't look like everyone else's life. And maybe you've been waiting for someone to confirm it for you. But no one's coming to hand the permission to you. That permission has been sitting in your soul for years. It just took this moment, this season, for it to finally speak loud enough to hear. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room you used to love and suddenly felt out of place? Not because anyone said anything, not because it changed, but because you did. That's what's happening in your life. It's not that the people around you got worse. It's that your sensitivity to what's true has sharpened. Your spirit no longer wants to sit through conversations that are just on the surface. Your soul isn't willing to pretend everything's fine when it isn't. You're not here to just get through life anymore. You're here to live it on the level God designed you for. And that means letting go of the things that were barely working for you when you didn't know your worth. There was a time when living beneath what you deserved felt wise, when hiding felt safe, when being liked felt more important than being real. But those days are over now. And please know, this doesn't mean you need to overhaul your whole life just to live. It means continuing to live as you do, just letting yourself flow a little more with the current of what God is already sending your way. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's actually easier than we think. It comes from imagining a child, how free they are, how they can trust with all of their heart. Imagine that level of freedom and trust with the wisdom you carry now. What's more exciting than that? You know, the version of you that once coped is not the one that's going to carry your calling. Because what's coming next in your life is not about maintenance. It's about emergence. And emergence isn't always sparkly. Sometimes it's the discomfort of shedding layers that no longer fit, even if they used to feel like the safest thing in the world. But that ache, that's birth. And birth always comes with pressure before the promise. Please know God is not asking you to become someone new. He's revealing your hidden, better yet buried self. You need trust, dear, not just in God, but in how God made you. Because He didn't make a mistake in giving you that sensitivity, or that hunger for more, or that deep knowing that doesn't make logical sense, but still won't let go of you. There's nothing random about it. So if you can trust it fully, even when it doesn't make perfect sense, allow yourself to step into it. We've gripped the wheel long enough. Now, let's hand it to God and watch where He takes us. So here's what I want to leave you with. What if the reason you feel like breaking down is because a breakthrough is trying to find a way to come through? And what if the very thing that felt too different about you as a child is exactly what the world needs now? You don't have to figure it all out today. Just start listening, not to the noise, not to the pressure, not to the highlight reels, but to you, to the version of you that existed before the world got too loud, before life got too heavy, before you forgot just how much light you came here to carry. So, my dear friend, let yourself be still and listen to your heart. It always knows what is best for you. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. Some people walk through life without noticing much. They can go to a party and not feel the undercurrent of tension. They can smile at someone and not sense the sadness behind their eyes. But not you. You've always seen too much, even when you tried not to. Even when you begged to just be normal for one day, to stop overthinking, stop overfeeling, stop being so aware of everything. But that sight, that inner vision, that emotional depth, it wasn't a mistake, it was a marking. You weren't made to walk blindly, you were made to walk ahead. It's an important part of your calling, and that's why your life has often felt heavier than most. Because seeing too much is a kind of weight. It's the weight of noticing what others miss, of caring about things people laugh off, of holding questions nobody around you wants to ask out loud. You've felt people's shifts before they happened. You've sensed betrayals before they unfolded. You've carried emotions that didn't even belong to you, and had to sort through which ones were yours and which ones you were just picking up. That's not hypersensitivity. That's a calling. And yes, it's a blessing. But sometimes it gets heavy. Let's talk about the cost of it for a moment, because this kind of sight doesn't come for free. It cost you relationships, because you couldn't ignore red flags they called just personality. It cost you peace, because even in calm rooms, you could feel the storm brewing underneath. It even cost you your sense of belonging, because while others laughed and relaxed, you were scanning the energy in the room like your spirit was on security duty. You didn't ask for that, but it came with who you are. And maybe you've wondered, why would God give me this kind of sensitivity and then place me around people who don't see it, who don't get it? Because He wasn't training you to fit in. He was training you to lead spiritually. Let me say something you probably never heard. You don't see too much. You see what others have been avoiding. You just happen to see it early. You feel it fully, and you carry it honestly. That's why people have misunderstood you. They thought you were dramatic, too much, too intense, too emotional. But what they didn't realize is you weren't reacting to what they could see. You were responding to what they were still blind to. And that's lonely. Let's not pretend it isn't. It's isolating to know things you can't explain, to feel warnings you can't put into words, to walk into a room and feel like your body knows something your mouth doesn't know how to say. But that's not paranoia. It's discernment. and God trusted you with it. There's an image I want to leave with you. Imagine a person standing on a mountain while everyone else is still down in the valley. From that height, you see further. You see the storm coming. You see the shift in the clouds. You see danger the others don't yet feel. But no one believes you. Because from where they are, everything looks fine. That's you. You weren't put on the mountain to be admired. You were placed there to warn, to guide, to stand in the gap. And yes, it's lonely up there sometimes, but heaven is with you at that height, and that view, it's proof of your assignment. So no, you're not too sensitive, you're anointed with sight. And while it may have made life harder, it also means you're trusted with more. God doesn't give this kind of vision to someone he plans to keep in shallow water. You've been sent to the deep. And that's why you've been through what you've been through. That's why your prayers hit different. That's why you feel called even when nobody's calling your name. Because God knows, the ones who see this much are the ones who can carry that much. Let's talk about your eyes for a moment. Not the color, not the shape. I mean the weight of them. Because whether you've noticed or not, your gaze carries truth. People look away when you hold eye contact too long. Not because you're intimidating, but because your eyes search deeper than they're ready to go. They feel exposed because you're not just looking at them. You're reading the patterns. You're sensing the gap between what they're saying and what they actually mean. And that right there, that's part of your assignment. You don't just see events, you see roots, you see cycles. You see what created the wound, not just the behavior growing out of it. And yes, it's exhausting sometimes, because seeing too much means you're often grieving things while others are still celebrating them. You already saw how that relationship would end, how that decision would unravel, how that person wasn't what they seemed, and you had to carry that knowing while everyone else was still clapping. But let me say this to your heart. That kind of sight doesn't mean you're cursed. It means you're positioned. You are the kind of soul that heaven can trust to stand in places where others go blind, to speak up before it's popular, to pull away before it's praised. That's why your life has never been slow or small, why your lessons came earlier, why you had to learn discernment in situations that didn't even feel fair. It was never just about protecting yourself. It was about learning how to see what can't be Googled, how to sense what hasn't happened yet, and carry that insight without turning bitter. Because yes, we both know, this kind of sight can harden people. It can make them cold, guarded, distrustful. It can make you want to close your eyes just to feel peace again. But that's not what you've done. You've chosen something holier. You've chosen to stay open, to keep showing up with love, even after being disappointed, to keep listening to your gut, even when people laugh at you for being deep. That's courage. That's spiritual leadership. That's kingdom responsibility. Let me say something clearly. You are not struggling because you're weak. You are stretched because you're trusted. The spiritual weight you carry, it's not some vague burden. It's the calling of a person God uses to spot what others walk past, to say what others won't say, to feel what others don't have the capacity to hold. And that's not for applause, it's for alignment. There are people in your life right now who feel strangely convicted in your presence, even when you say nothing. That's not because you're judgmental. It's because your energy reminds them of what they've been avoiding. You carry the frequency of truth. Even your silence speaks because you've done the work. You've sat with your pain. You've asked God the hard questions. You've cried over things that others would have just stuffed away and forgotten. So when you enter a space, you don't bring opinions. You bring discernment. You bring peace that was earned. You bring perspective that was fought for. And whether people say it or not, they feel the shift. That's why some are drawn to you, and that's why others avoid you altogether. It's not personal, it's spiritual recognition. God placed this kind of depth in you because He knows you won't abuse it. You won't use what you see to shame people. You won't manipulate outcomes just because you sensed how things might unfold. He gave you vision because you've proven you carry compassion alongside it. And that makes you rare. You might be in a season right now where you're not saying much, not explaining yourself anymore, not warning people who don't want to be helped. That's okay. There's a difference between being silent and being settled. And you, my friend, are becoming deeply settled in who you are. You're learning that you don't have to fix everything you see. Some things are just meant to be witnessed and surrendered. That's wisdom, that's maturity, and that's how heaven knows you're ready for the next level. So what now? Now, God begins to surround you with people who don't make you shrink, who don't treat your insight like it's strange, who don't call your discernment too much. Now, God starts matching the weight you carry with the assignment you've been sensing. Now, doors that were shut because the timing wasn't right begin to quietly open. And when they do, you'll walk through with peace, because you'll recognize that they weren't delays. They were protections, until your sight matured into wisdom. So the next time you wonder why you feel so much, so soon, so deeply, remember this: you see too much because you were called to carry what others can't even name yet. And God is building around that sight right now. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.